أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيد الخلائق أجمعين، حبيبنا وسيدنا المصطفى الأمين بالقاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد
وعلى آل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين الغر الميامين، لا سيما سيدي ومولاي بقية الله في الأرضين، مهدي هذه الأمة وخاتم الأئمة وطاووسها للجنة الحجة بن الحسن العسكري، روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدم الفداء. قال الله العظيم في محكم كتابه الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، وجعلنا منهم أئمة يهدون بأمرنا لما صبروا وكانوا بآياتنا يوقنون، آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد.
I congratulate each and every one of you, brothers and sisters, for the birth of our Imam Abu Ja'far Muhammad ibn Ali al-Baqir alayhi salam, and Imam Al-Hadi Ali al-Naqi salawatullahi wa salam alayhim ajma'in. One of the things that interests people in regard of the Imams salawatullahi wa salam alayhim ajma'in is how they live their life. But since a lot of brothers and sisters are familiar with the basics of the Imam salawatullahi wa salam alayhi life and birth and martyrdom, it's what's important. I don't say that is their life and where did they live, how they lived, and their place of burial. It's not important. It's important for us to know every aspect of their lives. But what it's most important, it's the instructions they have given us and the things that they want from us. With this saying this, there's a beautiful narration from Imam Al-Baqir salawatullahi wa salam alayhi to his wife. So the narrator is his wife, Farwa, the mother of Imam Sadiq salawatullahi wa salam alayhi. In this narration, Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam says, يا فروة إني لأدعو الله لمذنبي شيعتنا في اليوم والليلة 1000 مرة، لأن نحن فيما ينوبنا من الرزايا نصبر على ما نعلم من الثواب وهم يصبرون على ما لا يعلمون. That he says to his wife Farwa that I pray for the sinners of our Shia at the day and night 1,000 times. It's truly remarkable, to be honest. So that shows their interest and their concern. It's mainly about their Shia. It's mainly about to guide them. And he says, and the reason behind it is that we have patience over something that we know the consequences of that. And they have the patience over something that they don't know. They believe and they do what we tell them to do, right? So if we see the both lives of Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam and Imam Al-Hadi salawatullahi wa salam alayhi, which Imam Al-Hadi, by the way, the name, it's in the title itself, their mission, that the one who wants to guide, the one who guides people. And it's when the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Al-Hadi, is the one who guides. So here it's very interesting that both, they have the same kind of job and same mission. But one was given the opportunity to spread his message wider than the other, which was Imam Al-Hadi. But interestingly, that Imam Al-Hadi was given the title of Al-Hadi, even though he was confined in the city of Samarra, right? Even though that there was eyes on him 24/7, even though that his life was shorter than other Imams, and his imamah was, of course, not short, but 19 years. But if you see here, they see, they don't like just sit and say, we don't have the tools now, and we don't have the means to spread the message. No. So he spread the message to the extent that he was given the title of Al-Hadi, the one who guides. And if they switched places from with Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam, Abu Ja'far, to Imam Al-Hadi alayhi salam, they would have not done any difference. They would have done the same mission and the same thing they were sent for and their purpose on this earth. By saying this, I want to emphasize on something that it should concern all of us. To be among the ones who deserve the title of Shia. And I've mentioned this hadith in regard to Imam Hadi salawatullah salam alayhi, when someone was captured, when someone was arrested in the time of Imam Hadi in the city of Samarra, and he said to the officers, to the one who arrested him, that I am from the Shia of Ibn al-Rida, al-Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. And they brought him to him, and he said, no, he is not from our Shia. Right? He was not deserving the title of being their Shia. He was deserving the title of being one of their muhibbin. So we don't want that. We want the title and to be included in the dua of Imam Baqir salawatullahi wasalam alayhi. Because Imam Baqir dua didn't just stop there and then. It was for the all Shia throughout the history. So how can we be deserving of this title? One of the, I will begin with one of the stories and meeting that Imam Baqir salawatullahi wasalam alayhi had with people, which is mentioned in the book of Hadith. One of which is someone came to Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam telling him, إني ضعيف العمل قليل الصيام ولكني أرجو أن لا أكل إلا حلالا. That I am in what I do, I don't do much, right? I don't go, for example, for ziyarah, right? I don't do the recommended siyam, right? Like now it's Rajab, which again, it's a month that we prepare ourselves for the month of Ramadan and the month of Sha'ban before that. And tonight, by the way, it's the night of Laylatul Raghaib. So there's amal, there's something to do, which is fasting the first Thursday of the month of Rajab. And there is a salat between the salat and Maghrib and Isha. But nevertheless, what we can do is Laylatul Raghaib is the night of the wishes, the night of what we want. So we can ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this night of Jum'ah for our wishes and our needs, and for, of course, all mu'mineen and mu'minat's needs. So this person says to Imam that, but my hope is I don't consume what is unlawful. I just consume what is lawful, right? And I don't marry, but it's the lawful marriage. Imam salawatullahi wasalam alayhi said to his respond that أي الاجتهاد أفضل من عفة بطن وفرج. Which kind of that better chastity than having to control your desires, control what you consume, control who you marry and you who lay with. And this, of course, brings me to hadith of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What he says in that hadith, أكثر ما تلج به أمة النار الأجوفان البطن والفرج. That the majority that causes my ummah, my nation, to go into hellfire, wa'ayadhu billah, is the two hollow parts. Means the privates and the stomach. So sometimes a person thinks that it is what he does, like most of the, like as a recommended thing. But some people, they distract themselves, I'm saying this, distract themselves from doing what it's necessary, right? Someone, I mentioned this before, he said to his son, he was a scholar, of course, that you don't do the recommended things in your salat. Says what? Why? He says because you get distracted. I want you to be focused, and I know you to be focused on your daily salat that it's obligatory and the things that you need to do perfectly. So what we do sometimes is like to adorn. We do things, but we leave what it's most matters and what we need to, which is that wajibat. And in this case, that person says that this what he does. Imam Baqir salawatullahi wasalam alayhi says in another hadith, ما عبد الله بشيء أفضل من عفة بطن وفرد, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not been worshipped with anything better than the chastity of the stomach and the private parts. Imagine that. Like, to control one's desires. What is the whole religion is about, right? One is to live a good life, one is to control. And speaking of control, like in the month of Rajab, right, we start learning how to control our lawful desires. It's not unlawful desires, it's the lawful desires. It's the eating, which is lawful, which the halal ones. It is what things that we are permitted to do, and it is permissible, but during the day we prohibit and we control our desires. So later on we can control the desires that takes us to haram al-'ayadhu billah. In another hadith, a person, an elderly person, came to Imam while he was with his companion, with his family, in his court, in his place, in his house. And they say that he was an elderly man, guiding his goat with him, like leaning on his goats. And he came first, stood outside the door, says, Assalamu alayka ibn Rasulillah. And Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam, he replied. Then he turned to the people, he said, Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That they replied. He says that, Ya ibn Rasulillah, may I approach you? May I come like close to you? And what's the reason behind that? He wanted to be close to the Imam sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He starts saying that فوالله إني لأحبكم وأحب من أحب من يحبكم, that by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I love you and I love whoever loves you. Silmun liman salamakum, right? It's, you know, here it's his and this is beautiful what he says. Like, listen to this. That والله ما أحبكم وأحب من يحبكم لطمع في الدنيا. And by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name, I don't do this because I want something out of it from this world. I do it for the sake that, because, you know how some people, a tribes, you know, brings them together. A country brings them together. A team brings them together. A flag brings them together. They have a common reason and a common goal. So it brings them together. So he says, my reason is who I love you, and for because so how much I love you, I love whoever loves you. You know, this is, I can't say this about myself. That's truly selfless. That's truly something that beyond my comprehension. It's something that people say, it doesn't matter what you do to me. It doesn't matter if you have animosity towards me. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what tribe you belong to. It doesn't matter. I don't care about anything except the love of Ahlul Bayt Muhammad salawatullahi wa sallam alayhim ajma'in. Then he says, وَإِنِّي لَأَبْغَضُ عَدُوَّكُمْ وَأَبْرَأُ مِنْهِ. And I hate your enemy, right? And I stay away from them. So again, this is interesting, right? The hadith says that وهل الدين إلا البغض والحب. You have to ومن يكفر بالطاغوت ويؤمن بالله. You have to hate the tyrant. You have to hate the shaitan. You sometimes says no, it's all love. No, it's not. You have to hate shaitan because he's the enemy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that reason. You have to hate the enemy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you want to follow his instruction. You can't have it both ways. So you have to have hate and animosity towards someone or group of people who are against the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That وإني لأبغض عدوكم وأبرأ منه ووالله ما أبغضه وأبرأ منه لوتر كان بيني وبينه. Sometimes we want a reason to hate. You know, people like that. You know, they love and they hate. For example, they love a certain team and they hate a certain team. Right? It's like this. They need to hate because they love. But here it says that I hate them not because of any animosity I have with them. I have any problem with them, right? It's for the sole reason that they hate you. It's for the sole reason that they are not with you. It's for the sole reason that they show the animosity towards you. That's why I hate them. And then he says, وَاللَّهِ إِنِّي لَأَحِلُّ حَلَالَكُمْ وَأُحَرِّمُ حَرَامَكُمْ. Again, this is a very interesting point. That whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, حلال محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم حلال إلى يوم القيامة وحرام محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم حرام إلى يوم القيامة. Right? The halal, what he says, it's halal. I cannot say something, you know what, who says, for example, that hijab is mandatory? It's yeah, I can like work around it. If you don't bind by that, okay, says, I have a shortcoming. I remember once there was this guy who wasn't a mu'min. He was a Muslim, but wasn't a mu'min. So I told him that, what will happen to you when you die? He says, I will go to hell. I said, how come? Why? Why do you think that? It's because of the things that I'm doing. I know that what I'm doing is wrong. I don't justify it, right? It's my desires. I can't stop myself. So I don't justify it. For a person to justify, that's the problem, right? For a person to bring reason for himself and the others. Sometimes a person can want to fool himself, but sometimes a person wants to fool others as well. He says that, who says this? Like puts on the internet, like starts speaking and starts saying, it's like, it's not, it's like, it's not white and black and white. No, there's some gray areas. No, right? How sometimes we cross when it's orange on the traffic lights. It's not like there's this, we can't do it, like we can't cross. He says, no, wherever you do, I follow. Wherever you say permissible, I say permissible. Wherever you say it's not, I will say not. وَأَنْتَظِرُوا أَمْرَكُمْ. And I wait for your commands. This is again very interesting. That for every time, for now, for example, وَأَنْتَظِرُوا أَمْرَكُمْ means what? انتظار الفرج. فرج صاحب الأمر والزمان عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. And to always wait for the instruction, always wait for the command, right? For their command. It's not like, I'm living my life. I don't need Ahl Bayt, as some people will say that. No, I'm waiting for their command. I'm waiting for that moment. Then he says to Imam, فهل ترجو لي جعلني الله فداك? Like, do you think I'm saved? Imam Salawatullah Salam alayhi says, come to me until he sat next to him. And he says to that elderly man, أيها الشيخ إن أبي علي بن الحسين عليه السلام أتى رجل فسأله عن مثل الذي سألتني عنه. فقال له أبي عليه السلام إن تمت ترد على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وعلى علي والحسن والحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين ويثلج قلبك ويبرد فؤادك وتقر عينك وتستقبل بالروح والريحان مع الكرام الكاتبين لو قد بلغت نفسك ها هنا, and he points to his throat, وأهوى بيده إلى حلقه وأن تعش ترى ما يقر الله بها عينك وتكون معنا في السنام الأعلى. That if you live and someone came and asked the same things from my fathers, Ali ibn al-Hussein, and he says that if you die for what you believe now, you will be with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You will be with Ali ibn Abi Talib. You will be with Hassan and Hussein salawatullahi wa sallam alayhi. And you will be in the top place. And if you live, your life will be good. And if you die, you will be with us. That elderly man was shocked. He says, Ahad ibn Rasulullah, could you repeat that, please? And Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam, he repeated that. You know, if I were instead of this, I mean, on his place, I would have like wanted to hear that again. Like, say it, come again. So he said it again. This person, he fell to the ground, start weeping, start crying. And Imam Salawatullah Salam alayhi came to him and start wiping his tears with his hands. And this person, he got up and bid farewell to the Imam and left. While he was leaving, the Imam told the people who was sitting there, if any one of you wants to see a person of heaven, look at that sheikh. So we need to do things to be included, right? And all of you, of course, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, have heard this hadith many times in regard to Imam Sadiq salawatullahi wa salam alayhi, to Farwa, right? To Habib, if I not mistake, yeah. That in regard of that, if you want to be one of us, you cannot take your salat lightly. You need to have some qualities to be one of our Shia. A Shia, it's not just a title, which a lot of people carry now, right? Some of them, unfortunately, if you ask them, like, name your imams, they cannot name them. But, you know, they have the love, and they are descendants of the people who love the Ahl Bayt salawatullah salam alayhim ajma'in. So here, in the next hadith, Imam salawatullah salam alayh, he describes them, but not by their appearance. He categorized them, but not by their wealth and not by their status. It's by their characteristics. And he paints a beautiful picture that the people in every time can relate to, that the people can see that as a shared love that binds them together. So Imam salawatullah salam alayhi in this hadith, he says that from Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullah salam alayhi. شيعتنا المتبادلون في ولايتنا المتحابون في مودتنا المتزاورون في إحياء أمرنا الذين إن غضبوا لم يظلموا وإن رضوا لم يسرفوا بركة على من جاوروا سلم لمن خالطوا. Imam salawatullah salam alayhi says, our Shia are those who support one another. And why? Because they have loyalty to Ahl Bayt salawatullah salam alayhi, right? And their loyalty binds them together, like makes them just one body, makes everyone feels what the other feels. This is this is very interesting in regard of Mu'mineen, and on the wider scale, the Muslimin as well. Like whoever gets up and doesn't care about the matters of the Muslim, he's not one of the Muslims, right? And again, the same thing. So if he doesn't care about, if someone doesn't care about his brothers, his sisters, right? He cannot be given that title. And interestingly, the first qualities that Imam Salawatullah Salam alayhi mentions is this: if there was no God, and there is a God, if there was no prophet, which there is a prophet, if was there no Imam and no message, which there is an Imam and there is a message, this alone should have been something that binds people together. And not just one nation, one tribe, but no, a whole community, the whole world as well. That what important is to you, it's not where this person from. Is he your family or not? Is he your kinship or not? Is he from your same tribe or same country? No, that all doesn't matter. You scrape that all. What matters is your deen, your Islam, your faith. المتحابون في مودتنا. And I mentioned this before, right? He loves him because he loves Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullah salam alayhi. I mean, imagine, right? Any one of you mu'mineen, right? If you sit, if you have some differences between each other, right? If you have some differences, and one of you, they have like massive differences with the other. But when he mentions Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullah salam alayhi, how would you feel? What are you going to feel? Will you feel animosity towards Ali ibn Abi Talib wal-'iyadhu billah? There's a problem with you. Will you hate him to say something about Ali ibn Abi Talib? On the contrary, says, I maybe hate everything about him, but when he mentions the name of Ali ibn Abi Talib, I love him. At least at that minute. At least when he says Ali, like I will feel it with him. And if I don't want to confess, I still will say in my heart, Ali. So that will bring people together, will make our community love each other for the sake of Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullah salam alayhi. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And the ones, Imam Salamullah alayhi says, المتزاورون في إحياء أمرنا. And the ones who visit each other and reviving our matter and our teaching. I've seen some communities and some people beautifully that, we all need friends, right? We all need community. We all need someone to share our concern with, our secrets with. We all need someone, right? So when you go there, don't just speak about dunya. At least I've seen this type of majalis, mu'mineen gather, but they want to have fun, for kebab, for barbecue, for whatever reason. Like they want to have fun. Like the weather is good, you want to go on some picnic, but begin with a verse and hadith of Imam, one of the Imam salawatullah salam alayhi majma'in. Make that majlis a holy majlis, even though you have halal fun. Right? That will make it a holy majlis. You know how it makes it a holy majlis? There's a hadith, and it's not from me, it's from the book of hadith, that the angels themselves will come down, will descend upon that place, right? That the hadith of Ahl Bayt salawatullah salam alayhi majma'in is recited. Ayat from Quran is recited. So then the angels will go to the heaven again. So other angels say, you have a beautiful sense. Where were you? Says, we were with some mu'mineen who were mentioning the hadith and the verses of Quran. Ahya amrina. And they will say that we want to go there. So they're scared. Everyone went to his place. So they come down, start rubbing their wings on the places that they were sitting. That place, right, becomes holy. So the Yom Majalis, when the dhikr of Ahl-Bayt salawatullah salam alayhi is mentioned, it will make a massive difference. And then again, إن غضبوا لم يظلموا وإن رضوا لم يسرفوا. that when they are angry, they will not oppress. We all get angry, right? But don't get your anger to a level that you start backbiting who are you're getting angry with. Don't get your anger to a place of hatred. Don't get your anger, okay, you're angry with him, you have your differences with him, right? But don't oppress. And oppressing is one of the forms of oppressing is backbiting, right? Because he's not there to defend himself, and you backbiting him, and you judging him with the others, and you are smearing his reputation for what? Because you have problem with him. وَإِنْ رَضَوْا لَمْ يُسْرِفُوا. And they do not act wastefully when they are pleased. I mean, wastefulness, it's one of the works of shaitan, right? And whoever is wasteful is a brother to who? The devil himself. So he says, like, for example, if someone is with means, he doesn't need to act wastefully when he gathers people to show off, right? Like, make it simple. Or have a wedding, for example. Sometimes people do, not because they want to, but because someone else did it, so they want to do it as well. Some people even purchase things that they don't need, but because someone else did, he doesn't even, for example, he doesn't even know how to swim. He hates swimming, right? Yet he sees like someone that he knows, he built a pool in his house, and he says, you know what? That's it. I need to build a pool. He changes cars, and this person says, I need to keep up. I need to be the same level with him. No, the same level, that's not how it counts. Like, you see, people who are most of the time are wasteful towards things they don't need. That's why you see, like, when someone died, there are a lot of things, their ornaments or like their statues or something that, it's something that truly is wasteful. They didn't need it, but they bought it. Again, this is one of the qualities of the Shia of Amir al-Mu'minin salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim ajma'in and Ahl Bayt. And then, وَإِنْ رَضَوْا لَمْ يَصْرِفُوا بَرَكَةً عَلَى مَنْ جَاوَرُوا. If he's next to one, right, he will be barakah at that place. Wherever he is, next to a kafir, he will be barakah in that place, around him. If there anyone, like says, being a good neighbor, it's not like in good times, but if he's bad, you be good to him. That is how good neighbor is defined. If they have like noises, what you can do, right? You call police on them, you start hating on them. No, you can't do that. So now I've seen this. Like, some people, I don't, maybe not as much here, but unfortunately in some Muslim countries, they start hating on their neighbors for what? For like simplest of stuff, simplest of things. And they says it should be the opposite. However, and any place should be a blessing upon that area. And silmun liman khalatu, and to be source of peace with those who associate with them. Not, it's beautifully said that a source of peace. Sometimes people are a source of distress. When he comes, oh my God, this guy again. I need to act in a particular way. I need to behave in a particular way. No, like, laid back. Like, don't be stressing people up. Like, oh, this guy, he's very meticulous in what he wants. The mu'min is hashun bash. The mu'min doesn't need much. Doesn't put people under pressure. And again, he's a source of people's joy and people's blessing. And I will finish with the beautiful hadith from Imam Hadi salawatullahi wa salam alayh, when he says, "Man radiya an nafsih kathura as-sakhituna alayh." Allahu Akbar. What a beautiful thing. That he who is pleased with himself will have many who are displeased with him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those people who want to please Ahl Bayt salawatullah salam alayhim ajma'in, want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet, inshaAllah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the opportunity to be among those people who will receive the intercession of Ahl Bayt salawatullah salam alayhim ajma'in. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the opportunity to visit the shrines of Imam Baqir, inshaAllah, after it's built soon, inshaAllah, and Imam Hadi صلوات الله وسلامه عليه إنه ولي التوفيق وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى الطيبين الطاهرين.